In a world of endless fandoms, one podcast dares to cover them all. Welcome to Between Two Batcaves, your go-to HQ for everything from comics to the screen and all the IP in between.
Join your hosts, Austin and Jordan, for weekly coverage of the comics, shows, and blockbuster hits that keep us coming back for more. So thanks for hanging with us and being part of the next entry into the Batcave saga.
All right, hello, and thanks for hanging with us today on this episode of Between Two Batcaves. We are your hosts. I am Austin Luke, and he is Jordan Brownstein. And today we are talking Daredevil Born Again, Season 2, Episode 1.
We're back. We're back.
Oh, dude, I didn't even see that. You got your Daredevil shirt? I got my Daredevil shirt on. Hold up.
I got this at Comic-Con when we went a year and a half ago.
Oh, dude, it's been a minute. Actually, I was talking about that yesterday because we were talking about Halloween. A family friend of ours that lives in Baltimore, actually, she apparently does this huge Halloween extravaganza. We'll talk about it later because it sounds like something you guys are going to want to come to as well.
Yeah.
But we were talking about Halloweens of past and how Halloween, 2 years ago-ish, almost lined up with Comic-Con. That was a good time.
We treated it like Halloween.
Anyway, Daredevil, Born Again, Season 2, Episode 1 is what we're talking about today. More details from Jordan on that later on, as well as many more things to come. Before we get into the meat of the episode today, a few programming reminders over here, as always. If you like what we're doing over here on Between Two Batcaves, let us know. Whether this is your first or 48th episode with us. Jordan, what you got?
Shout out Patrick Peanut Owasu, Ravens linebacker, late 2010s, early 2020s. Good player.
I totally lost my train of thought there. It was the peanut part that got me.
Yeah, didn't expect a nickname.
Whether this is your first or 48th episode with us, please let us know how we're doing over here. A few ways you can do that for us. First, you can follow the pod on the podcast platform of your choice. Second, you can leave a 5-star rating and review on that podcast platform. And third, you can share this episode with a friend. If you're watching this episode, I hope that you have seen Daredevil Born Again Season 2, Episode 1. So share this episode with... There's a big bug crawling down my wall, everybody. Sorry, totally sidetracked there. But
how many legs are we talking?
Oh, way too many. Way too many legs. I'm not even editing that out of this episode. People need to know.
Yep. Very brave of you to continue on.
Guys, this episode's off the rails already. Share this episode with somebody that you know that's also watching Daredevil Born Again. Let's see. If you're watching Between Two Batcaves, first of all, thank you so much. You can watch us over on YouTube at Between Two Batcaves and on Spotify. Click all the buttons on the video platforms. We got like, we got subscribe, we got ring the bell. Leave a couple comments over there. Lots of things you can do to share the love. Let us know how we're doing over here in Between Two Batcaves. The more you guys give us to work with, the more we can do to make this show better for you guys. And we're really looking to do that. So all the feedback you guys want to provide, we're looking for it. Lastly, socials. We are on Twitter, Facebook, Insta, TikTok, Blue Sky,
Amazon Music.
That's not a lie. We are on Amazon Music.
I feel like people need to know.
You can find us everywhere at Between Two Batcaves with the number 2, except for Twitter. We are at B2 Batcaves with the number 2.
Nothing is right over there.
I think that's all I got, Jordan. We're making this a short episode today, so go on and let the people know what to expect from us today, what to expect from us in the future couple weeks looking down the road here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as you mentioned, for anybody who can see the clothing that we're wearing, it's very clear that we're here today to talk about Daredevil Born Again, Season 2, Episode 1, The Northern Star. We are going to get into the weeds on it. Austin, you watched it for the first time last night. I rewatched it this morning after watching it live on Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever day it dropped. So we're going to be getting into it. Before we do that, though, a couple news items to hit in our Oracle report. But we are going to just, we are dropping our toes in and making our way over to the weeds for Daredevil Born Again. Coming down the pipe, we still got a lot of episodes of Invincible that we got to catch up on. We talked about it on this platform. Both of us are, leading busy lives of our own, and we do the best we can to find the time to, one, watch, and then two, talk about the things that we love. We're doing that with Daredevil today. We're going to find time to do that with Invincible going forward in the next couple of weeks here. Same thing with The Boys. What else we got coming, Austin? We got Mario Galaxy movie coming out. Mall Shadow Lord. The next few weeks are going to be crazy. We will be here breaking down as much of it as we possibly can. I would say you can be confident that we will come back to talk about Invincible. In some form or fashion, we will be discussing this new season of Invincible. I'm
almost wondering. Sorry to interrupt you.
No,
I'm just thinking out loud here. We're halfway through the season now. I'm almost wondering if we should just do a season recap at the end. But we'll figure that out.
If you guys are listening or watching us and following weekly with Invincible and you want to hear us talk about it, let us know and we'll find a way to do it. That just goes back to, the listener feedback. The more you guys tell us about what you like and what you don't like, the better we can kind of tailor our podcast here and our schedule to talk about the things that are really resonating with you guys. That being said, we freaking love Daredevil. We're going to be talking about it, I think, as close to weekly as we possibly can. So the schedule for the show, they just dropped the first episode last week. They're actually doing a 2-episode drop this coming week. Mm-hmm. And then it's 1 episode per week for the following 5 or 6 weeks after that. I think there's 8 total episodes.
I would expect a weekly coverage on that from us.
Yeah. Not to get into our review already, but suffice to say, I'm super excited for episode 2. What else we got? Any other movies coming down the pike that we're excited about aside from Mario? We might be I think it might be Mario, at least for the purposes of the pod. It might be Mario, and then Mando and Grogu in May might be the next one.
Big one. Yeah.
We're kind of in a big TV era right now with Project Hail Mary having come and gone for us at least. Although I might be, spoiler alert, going to see it again today. But yeah, we're really in a big TV era right now in between two Batcaves.
Yeah. Actually, I think you pretty much nailed it there. A lot of good TV leading up into the summer blockbuster, extravaganza that we're going to have. And actually, that was a perfect little segue here into our Oracle report, because I know that you have a story about Project Hail Mary that you want to talk about. Not a story, but just some statistics. So let's get into the Oracle report. And also, before we do that, I just got to address it. Guys, it's bugging me. I'm so sorry that you can see my knees.
We spent a long time trying to address that this morning.
I don't know why my camera's not zooming in as usual, so you can see my knees. It is what it is.
You know what? It's spring cleaning, baby. Let them out. Without further ado, you want to get into the Oracle report here?
I do. Yeah. I guess start us off with some Project Hail Mary stuff. Let's do it.
Yeah.
A movie that we covered last week, and we both loved.
Good plug. Yeah. Freaking awesome movie. One of my favorite movies in a long time. And it seems to be...
Finish your story. This reminded me of a question I had for you. So finish what you're talking about, and I'll bring it up.
So yeah, it was... I love this movie. You love this movie. And a lot of other people love this movie. Just kind of tracking the box office numbers here. Through 2 weekends of release, so as of yesterday, the movie has cleared just domestically almost $163 million. That's just domestic in 2 weekends. Global, I'm looking on Variety right now. It looks like, so looking just at the opening weekend, so we're 2 weeks in now, just looking at the opening weekend, it cleared almost $141 million worldwide. That's like 80 and a half in North America, and then 60 or so
internationally, which is a pretty strong number internationally. Um, and so it seems like it's a pretty even split as much as it kind of can be between, domestic and international at the box office here, just to say that this is, this movie is like a 4 quadrant, like global appeal type movie that a lot of people are going to see. A lot of people are going to see it in like these premium formats, which cost a little bit more and add to that box office number. But it just kind of goes to show that we are kind of in this era right now where if you make a movie that, it has to be more than just an event. Like it can't just be
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, this big thing happens. That's enough to, give you something. But to get these kind of numbers, it has to be an event that you care about. And
Yeah.
so this movie nailed kind of that cross section of giving us the big space spectacle and then also delivering characters that we fall in love with. Like Rylan Grace and Rocky are now just going to be in the lexicon of culture going forward. Um,
Well, I was about
based,
to say, yeah,
yeah,
the word of mouth on this movie is doing crazy things. I mean,
yeah.
Rocky is very quickly become beloved to a lot of people.
Their
I
marketing
did
on
just,
social media has been awesome
oh,
too.
it's so good.
They're
It's
doing
so
a great
good.
job.
Just to put it in context here, so I just looked this up. The Martian, the previous movie adaptation made from an Andy Weir novel, which came out in 2015, which granted was a very different movie-going landscape than what we're in right now. However, the Martian opened up to a 54 million domestic box office opening. It
Wow.
landed, yeah, I know. So we're already way ahead of that. It landed with a 228 million domestic box office total, with a 630 million box office worldwide
Yeah.
total. So interesting numbers there.
Solid. I think that Project Hail Mary is going to clear all those. We're
I
like
do
two
too.
weeks
Yeah,
in, and we're well on pace to, I think, uh, clear those benchmarks. I'm just like looking online at some of the reporting on the box office. A $53 million second weekend is what they're looking at. So
it's
like,
crazy.
not like drop from 81 to 53 is like pretty insignificant when it comes to second weekend drops. It's like tracking ahead of Oppenheimer as far as like that second weekend number goes.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think I feel pretty confident that this movie is going to clear a lot of those numbers from The Martian.
Yeah, no, me too. I was very surprised there when I just saw that box office opening domestic for The Martian. I was like, oh man, like Project Hail Mary is gonna blow that out of the water, dude.
Yeah. It's just it has a real staying power right now in the week or so since we've seen it. Like still heavily talked about on social media. Like I mentioned, their social media marketing has been awesome. On TikTok the other day, like the official Project Hail Mary TikTok account had like a live stream going just of Rocky sleeping. And they marketed
Rocky's
like
just.
Rocky sleeping. You guys need to tune in and watch him. Rocky sleep. You watch.
Have you
And
seen the commercial? I forget what commercial it's for now, but it's just like it's just basically like come watch Ryan Gosling sleep. Like, you
yeah,
know which one I'm talking about? Yeah.
yeah, it feels like it was a pistachio commercial, but I'm probably wrong about that.
Dude, no, I think you're right actually. um, all right, I got a question for you.
Yeah, what's up?
That jogged my memory here. So, all right, 5 movies: Project Hail Mary, Avengers: Doomsday, Dune 3, um, oh,
Spider-Man,
Spider-Man: Brand New Day,
Odyssey,
and
or did you already say
Odyssey.
that?
Thank you. Yep. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know what these
Uh,
categories are, but I was just thinking about big movies this year.
no, no, no. That was exactly right. So those are like the 5 kind of like big movies that we've talked about kind of continuously throughout the year.
Hmm.
When talking about like the 2026 summer blockbuster hits, you got those 5 movies. We've seen one. We've seen Project Hail Mary. So given that context, you can, kind of shape around the fact that you already know how you feel about Project Hail Mary. Just give me a 1 through 5 in terms of what you expect to be your personal preference list.
Like at the end of the year, having seen all these
All
movies, my
5 of these.
ranking.
Yep,
Oh man.
I know.
Oh god. dude, I have no idea. This is bad podcasting. I dude, I don't know. You stumped me. I'm feeling really optimistic about what's still to come this year. I think Project Hail Mary will probably slot in around 3 or 4.
I think that's right.
God, dude. I mean, we're talking about like 4 of like my most beloved franchises right now in Spider-Man, Avengers, Dune, and Christopher Nolan.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Don't hold me to it. I'm just gonna fire from the hip. All right. Project Hail Mary's at 3. Um, Odyssey at 1, Spider-Man at 2, no, Dune at 3, Dune at 4, Dune 3 at 4, and Avengers at 5. I feel terrible about it.
Okay, no, actually, I like that. I like that a lot. I think my personal list right now. And granted, this is with the caveat that I haven't seen Dune 2 yet, so this could easily change after I've seen Dune 2. But right now, it's number 1, Spidey, number 2, Odyssey, number 3, Project Hail Mary, number 4, Dune 3, number 5, Avengers.
So the only thing that we have different is the swap at number 1 and 2, right? You have Spidey at 1.
So.
I have Odyssey at 1.
Yeah.
That's a tough question, dude, because it really depends. It really depends. I think as I sit here right now, of those 4 that are still to come, I'm most nervous about Doomsday, just naturally.
Oh, for sure.
There's a lot of variables at play there. I'm most excited right now as I sit here for Spider-Man, I think because we're still in the afterglow of the trailer, and it's a lot closer than I think any of these other movies. Like Spider-Man's July, Avengers and Dune are both December, and Odyssey's also July. So I think that
yeah.
Is Odyssey June? Odyssey might be before Spider-Man.
Is it June?
Let's see. Odyssey might be June.
Dude, we got to start making some plans for this summer. Goodness gracious, we got things to see.
Yeah. Let's see. As we sit here today, this movie's supposed to be coming out on July 17th, so 2 weeks before Spider-Man.
Okay.
That's the Odyssey.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah, that's where I'm sitting with it. I don't know. Subject to change tomorrow. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. I don't know.
All right. Anything else with Project Hail Mary before we get into the second quick Oracle report story?
Nothing else except just to say, man, I still love this movie, and I like.
Oh yeah.
Hearing all the stuff about how this movie was made, the behind the scenes of it makes me love it even more. The craftsmanship, the love, the creativity, the hard work that went into all of it. This movie, it's like one of these movies that deserves to have the success to like be one of these rare instances where like social media unites behind something in a positive way. Yeah. Project Hail Mary. Amaze.
This movie's great. All right, second Oracle report story here. Just briefly, not much to touch on here, except hey, Simon Williams will be returning in season 2 of Wonder Man. Officially announced, season 2 of Wonder Man is greenlit for coming to Disney Plus. I don't think we have any date for this yet, right?
I would expect this probably late 27, early 28. But yeah, dude, that kind of a new era of Marvel television to get this early season 2 announcement. Not only Simon Williams, but Trevor Slattery coming back. So we're getting the dynamic duo of Yahya Abdul-Mateen and Sir Ben Kingsley back on the silver screen together here with Wonder Man season 2. I think same creative team with Destin Daniel Cretton and Andrew Guest as kind of the writers and showrunners. And man, yeah, it's just, I was not expecting to see this announcement.
I was not either.
In general, and especially like not so soon after season 2. Or sorry, after season 1.
People responded very well to this season of TV. And
the people who
this
saw
is
it did. Yeah.
Like the people are like, they're listening. And if we're, obviously they've been very front about how like they're gonna try to they're trying to transition in like this new era of Marvel television at Disney Plus, and if the way that we want to kind of helm that ship is with Daredevil and Wonder Man with recurring seasons on the live action side, I'm very comfortable with that.
East
I
Coast,
mean,
West Coast.
two totally different vibes, just like easy watches, great characters that we fall in love with very quickly. I'm into this a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Super exciting. I think it's another big factor is like the relatively low production cost of season one.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
think that played a big role probably in this decision. Like, hey, this might not have had the most viewers in the world. Like we've had shows that garner more viewers, but like the dollar to viewer ratio for a show like this makes a lot of sense. And the
Yeah.
people who did see it that seem to be responding to it like really positively. And yeah, I mean, it feels like a new era of Marvel TV where we're getting like multiple season announcements. Um, we're moving away, I think, from like the big event TV, and we have
Yeah.
been for a while now.
Yeah.
Daredevil Born Again season 2, we'll talk about it. You could argue kind of is that to a certain extent, but if Daredevil just kind of is like that flagship show that they use to incorporate some of the bigger picture things in the MCU, and then have a show like Wonder Man do its own thing. Vision Quest, also still to come this year, seems to be kind of very much in its own lane. So to kind of have that tentpole with Daredevil and then a bunch of cool stuff, in the periphery, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, no, I agree. Makes a lot of sense. I think Vision Quest, it's weird. Like that's one of those things that just kind of keeps getting forgotten. But also
Yeah.
in a way, it almost feels like it's going to be closing out kind of like the older era of Marvel
Like that
television.
WandaVision trilogy. Yeah. Yeah. In a lot of ways.
So I think that might kind of be like the last of its kind here for a
Mm,
while. As we move more into the almost like the split between Marvel Television and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think we're gonna be noticing more of a pretty thick line drawn in the sand moving forward.
yeah. Well, with that being said, you wanna get into the meat and potatoes of today's episode?
Yeah, I do. I was gonna say that's another great. We're killing the segues today because I just brought up Daredevil, and that's what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about Daredevil: Born Again, Season 2, Episode 1, The North Star. We are gonna be getting into the weeds on this episode, talking about what worked, what didn't work, maybe shine a couple bat signal spotlights, maybe throw a couple broken batarangs. Who's to say? We haven't talked about this at all.
It's been hard.
Jordan, we gotta talk about what happened in this episode before we get into it. You're gonna hit us with a good old fashioned Batcave recap. Before you do that, I do have a question for you. Okay, so you mentioned it already. You've seen this episode twice. I just finished it yesterday. I am curious to know. So you and I both, we listen to a lot of similar podcasts reviewing this type of material. We both do a very good job, I think, of formulating our own opinions while also like
Mhm.
letting, like the well informed and educated opinions of others kind of introduce new ideas to us. I just want to know what, if anything, have you listened to
Yeah, that's
regarding
a good
coverage of
question.
this? Because I have not listened to anything. So I just want to know
All
what
right.
you've listened to.
So I have listened to some stuff. I listened to friends from work talk about it. I think like right after the episode, maybe on Tuesday night. And then I did also listen to Midnight Boys and House of R. Now, House of R's
Okay.
coverage was just kind of like a check-in. And Midnight Boys like did their typical like instant reactions, but like half the episode is completely unrelated to the episode of TV that they're supposed to be reviewing.
That makes
Um,
sense. Yeah.
so I I have that kind of background here, and there are a couple points that I think I like that they raise in their episodes that kind of inspired some thoughts of my own. But I feel like I was able to kind of take a lot, like have like a lot of my own takeaways before going into those reviews and like listen to them in the context of like, well, does this really jive with what I thought? Or, you know, I
Okay.
think this is I completely disagree with this point. So I think
Yeah,
you'll
no, just
find,
curious.
yeah. I think you'll find them to
Um,
be pretty interesting after we record here today.
All right, let's do it. Hit us with a Batcave recap for Daredevil Born Again Season 2, Episode 1.
Let's do it. All right. Batcave recap. Daredevil Born Again, episode 201, titled The Northern Star. This episode was written by Dario Scartapane, who's also the showrunner for this show, directed by Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead, starring, of course, Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock, a.k.a. Daredevil. Vincent D'Onofrio is back as Wilson Fisk, a.k.a. Kingpin. Deborah Ann Wool is back and better than ever as Karen Page. New character, Mr. Charles has showed up here, being played by Matthew Lillard. Tony Dalton is back as Jack Duquesne, a.k.a. Swordsman. Margarita Levieva is back as Dr. Heather Glenn. And we have really a lot of the full cast of season 1 is back and in their roles here too. So we'll kind of get into it as we go. With that being said, though, we open this episode, The Northern Star, several months after the season 1 finale. And we're following here a fully healed Daredevil in a sick nude black suit raiding a cargo ship in the East River, which he discovers is loaded with illegal weapons that Fisk is running through his free port before the ship is intentionally sunk by the captain. This kicks off a race to find the surviving captain and first mate of the Northern Star between Team Daredevil and Mayor Fisk, who has strengthened his hold on the city and continued his hunt for Daredevil through his anti-vigilante task force and his Safer Streets initiative. Matt, with the help of Karen's spycraft and Cherry's PI sleuthing skills, search for the survivors of the Northern Star, while Fisk is confronted by a new adversary, Mr. Charles, who is sent to New York from Langley on behalf of Valentina Allegra de Fontaine to clean up the mess that was created by the sinking of the Northern Star. In the meantime, we follow Jack Duquesne as he is still incarcerated from the end of season 1 and is being interviewed by Dr. Glenn in advance of his trial. Dr. Glenn, we find out, is riddled with PTSD from Muse's attack in season 1 and is also dealing with Fisk's DA's office, trying to coerce her into misrepresenting Duquesne's psyche vow along with the other vigilantes that Fisk has incarcerated to make it easier to convict them in the ensuing vigilante trials. As the episode rolls on, Cherry continues his investigation into the Northern Star survivors, which prompts a visit to his apartment by the anti-vigilante task force. Right before the AVTF barges into his apartment, Cherry is able to get an SOS message to Daredevil. The officers break in, begin beating Cherry down, and Daredevil shows up in the nick of time to save Cherry from the beatdown and puts his own beatdown on the AVTF officers, but loses focus as he hears Cherry begin to have a heart attack, which sends Matt back into flashbacks of losing Foggy from the beginning of season 1. Matt losing focus allows the AVTF officers to get the upper hand on Daredevil and unmask him. And right as that happens, an unseen sniper rifle takes all of the AVTF officers out, and the episode cuts to credits as a knife flies into the room bearing Bullseye's iconic symbol and a "You're welcome" message inscribed into the blade for Daredevil to read. That has been your Batcave recap for Daredevil Born Again, episode 201, The Northern Star.
Well done, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Where do you want to start here? You kind of want to just start, you want to go kind of funnel it down what works? Some bigger picture ideas here?
Yeah, first I want to ask you, just big picture, what'd you think of this episode? Did you like it? We're back in Daredevil after, what has it been, a year? Was season 1 2024 or 25? I think it was 24. Anyway.
No, we're getting yearly. No,
was it just a year?
Last year. Yeah, it was last year.
All right. Proves me wrong. Well, being a year away from Daredevil, coming back, getting into season 2, supposed to be a more cohesive direction than season 1, which was kind of Frankenstein together. Now we have Dario Scartapane at the helm from the very beginning, incorporating a lot of the Netflix elements into the show. So just big picture, coming at episode one, how are you feeling about the show?
Yeah. So I liked this episode a lot. I like this season 2 premiere. I think, we get right into the thick of it immediately. We're picking up pretty much right where we left off with all of our characters from season 1. We get Daredevil and Karen. They're um, going about their business, trying to topple Fisk's oppressive regime. Fisk's task force is in full force. Just going after anybody who could potentially have connection with the mass vigilantes, and really just anybody who's posing a threat to Fisk in general. We get, I think, a good couple, like almost like fast forward evolutions that we didn't really need to spend time with. For example, we pick up right off with Daredevil and his new black suit, which is something that we've been, shown and teased with for a long time now. It
Dude, I
looks
remember
sick.
when those first behind the scenes shooting leaks dropped of that
Oh,
new
dude, we
suit
were so
while we were
excited.
talking about season 1. It's cool to see it.
We were so excited.
Yeah.
I don't really need like a backstory behind like, how did that suit come to be? It looks awesome.
Yeah.
We get right into
And
it.
we knew
It's like,
from
okay,
season
well,
1, that he had like a cache of at least cows of different
suits.
colors and everything. So
Yeah.
so it
So
makes
that's
sense.
cool. You get the double D's. We see Karen and Matt, they're in a relationship again.
Let me
Awesome.
ask you this. Let me
Yeah.
jump in and ask you this, because you say we kind of pick up where we left off, but with the Karen and Matt relationship, that has really evolved since the end of season 1.
Yeah.
What was your takeaway? How did you feel about kind of just being introduced into the middle of their rekindling of their romantic relationship?
I'll be honest, dude. I don't really care either way. I mean, it's totally expected in my opinion. They've always had, they have a history. They've always had that tension. Even in season 1, you get that little bit of tension between Karen and Frank and Karen and Matt. So to see them right off the bat here, they're Matt's finishing up a mission, comes back, starts making out with Karen. I don't really need anything besides that. I don't need to know how they got there. I don't need to know. I I'm really not in the show for Matt and Karen, to be honest with you, man. So if this is what they want to do, cool. I like the fact that they didn't spend a lot of time going into how they got there,
Yeah.
just personally.
I think it also makes sense. Like, so we know, so end of season 1, Matt had just got like taken a bullet for Fisk. That Bullseye tried to assassinate Fisk. Matt took a bullet for him. So we know like Matt is fully healed from that. So it's been probably several months since the end
It's
of
been a
season
minute.
1
Yeah.
with Karen and Matt both on the run. Like Fisk is hunting Daredevil and Karen, both of them down. And you kind of see in this first episode, like they've been hiding out, living in the apartment above Josie's, the bar that they
Mhm.
they always go to, which like hideout spot, maybe not the best, but
Dude, you
I
always
digress.
gotta hide exactly
Where they expect you,
yeah, like, because that's such reverse
yeah.
psychology,
But
they're not
yeah,
gonna check there.
hiding in plain sight. Um, but no, all that just to say, like, it makes sense. Like Matt and Karen had been underground for months, working, like scraping to survive and fight back against Fisk. It makes sense that they kind of fall back into each other romantically
Yeah,
in connection with all of that. Um,
that's a good
so
point.
that
I'm
makes
just not
sense to me.
questioning it.
Yeah. I think there might be some people who would be confused or like disoriented by jumping into it like that, but it makes sense to me. And that's, who knows, we might get some more discussion of that, or there could be flashbacks to like this period that we've kind of skipped between end of season 1 and beginning of season 2 that kind of flushes it out more for anybody who's worried about that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now, okay, so follow-up question to that, and I know this is jumping around the episode a bit, but we're not following this chronologically.
Yeah.
That's not how we do our reviews. So, the other side of, the Matt relationships in this show. We get the return of Heather, and we get to see, what she's been doing with her association now with Mayor Fisk as
Mhm.
what's her official role? She's the head of psycho. Do you remember what it is?
Something like that. She's like in charge of like the administration's like mental health, psychiatric wellness
Yeah,
division,
she's
something
basically
like that.
now
Yeah.
she's in Fisk's pocket to give psych evals on the masked vigilantes that they capture, and basically fudge the numbers, to ensure that these people, get put away for good,
Yeah.
to align with Fisk's agenda. Um, in all of this, we see her like PTSD coming through the form of hallucinations, envisioning Muse from season one. Uh, my question for you here is simply, what are you making of this? Are you liking this this setup for this character? Do you think that this is a good idea to bring to have this connecting point from season one, uh y- continuation with Heather? I just Where are you sitting at with Heather right now?
The Heather character is probably like one of the weakest links of this first episode and of Born Again as a whole for me.
Yeah.
Um, Not anything really to do with the performance. I just don't think they really gave her enough dimension as a character aside from just being Matt's girlfriend and a psychiatrist that was,
Hmm.
attacked by Muse. Um, so I'm like, I'm not out on it, but I'm just like not nearly as invested in Heather as a character as really any other character on the show. With
That's a
that
good
being
point.
said, though, the position that she's in season two is pretty interesting to me because she is kind of like this linchpin for Fisk's entire safer streets agenda, as we kind of
Yeah.
see like through like I also like how she's kind of paired up with Jack Swordsman as like the window into like this whole
Hmm.
safer streets vigilante trials kind of storyline that's going on because I would love
Yeah.
Tony Dalton who plays Jack and I like think the swordsman character is like an interesting also like connection point to the greater MCU with Hawkeye and just like a fun character to kind of be around and be that almost like that class representative for the vigilantes who are being oppressed by Fisk's administration. Um,
Yeah.
and what I do find interesting and enjoy about Heather's character is like the Muse PTSD side of it, how that plays into like her traumatic experience with a masked, not a vigilante, but like somebody that she like is being portrayed as a vigilante by Fisk and masked
Hmm.
villain, masked vigilante. Some people say, what's the difference? That's kind of the position that she's in. So you see how like her own traumas are playing into the role that she's like playing on a larger scale. Um, and I'll just say, I would be shocked if she does not turn into like a Muse copycat killer. I
Yeah.
think that's where this is
So
going.
I think that's where this is going, and unfortunately, I'm not really excited by that idea.
Yeah.
I agree with what you said. I don't think that she got enough in season one to do it to really make me care about that. And ultimately, like if they're gonna choose this as the storyline for her, I don't care enough about the whole Muse thing
Yeah.
and Heather in tandem moving. I mean, I'm not saying that it can't be interesting, but as of right now, where it sits, I'm just like, I don't know if I want this taking up screen time when
Yeah.
there's other things I care about more. Um, I do, however, I
Yeah.
agree with what you said there about using Jack Duquesne as kind of like this medium to give Heather more to do in this season, which I think is interesting because like we didn't really expect much out of this Jack Duquesne character, with what we got out of Hawkeye, and now suddenly he's, it's pretty obvious now that he is the swordsman. He's been doing something like on the streets in some way, shape, or form. And I hope that we get a little bit more into that. I want to know a little bit more about the swordsman character.
See, my read of it is a little bit different because so season one, there's like that cell phone footage, right? Of Jack Duquesne like out as the swordsman doing something, right? And he's like in an outfit. And
Hmm.
my read of it was just kind of like he is a nobody when it comes to like being like a crime fighter on the streets. But like because there was that one moment where he's captured and he has a mask on, he has a suit, like this kind of latches on to that and, brands him as a
Mm-hmm.
vigilante just to kind of bring him within the ambit of like the Safer Streets initiative. But
Well, that also would further his just like vendetta that he had against Kate Bishop's mom.
yeah,
Her name's escaping me at the
yeah,
moment,
yeah.
but sorry, go ahead.
No, that makes sense. But I also like just to say like Tony Dalton, the actor who plays Jack Duquesne, is like he's awesome.
Yeah, yeah,
Anybody who's seen Better Call Saul knows that he plays Lalo there. He's, I think one of like the most maybe, I don't know, underrated, but like somebody who should be much more well known as like a great TV actor of our time right now. So if that's a character that they're like, he didn't have a big role initially, but like being on set every day and seeing the way that Tony Dalton plays him, like the showrunners like, we got to give him more to do. I'm fully here for that in
yeah,
whatever
very
form it
possible.
comes. Yeah.
Um, okay, so yeah, that's kind of the Heather character. Uh, so I mean, obviously, we gotta talk about Matt and where he's at, and but that's kind of like the bulk of this. So I think just like a couple other things to touch on. You know, we get some look into uh actually, you want to talk about Mr. Charles for a second?
I would love to.
Okay, let's talk about Mr. Charles, as
Yeah.
portrayed by Matthew Lillard. This character, I'm interested to see what this character does. Um, this seems like a cool avenue and a connection to the greater MCU. You mentioned it in the Batcave recap, but he's here on behalf of Allegra de Fontaine.
Hmm.
So why was that name drop included? Especially when she's now at the helm of the new Avengers initiative. What benefit comes from supporting Mayor Wilson Fisk's anti-vigilante agenda? Um, I don't know, but the character himself, Mr. Charles, it's just like his presence is super cool. It's very like intimidating and just like lackadaisical. The way that he uses everybody's first names, I think, is really funny. I like that a lot. Like the scenes with him were awesome. Just like starting with at the bar, he has the burner phone. He's just like, well, I'll go because I need the miles,
Yeah.
whatever. And then he's in the office. He's using everybody's first name. He's like, "Oh, you're gonna want to take that call." I love like his cockiness. What do you think about this
Hmm.
character?
Okay. Let's talk about him as a character first, and I also want to talk about some of the Valentina stuff separately and like the
Okay.
MCU connections.
Yeah.
But yeah, I completely agree that I think this is like such an interesting character to introduce as a foil to Fisk
Hmm.
because where we're at right now, my understanding of it is so yes, he is kind of like a fixer for Val. Um, and Val is like using Fisk's Freeport to smuggle guns and whatever other kind of illegal stuff that she wants
Yeah.
to smuggle into New York on behalf of the CIA because he says that he's there on behalf of Langley,
You're
and we
right. Yep.
know. Well, actually, I want to ask you about this first because we know from Thunderbolts, Val was the head of the CIA. Like at the beginning of the movie, she's there being questioned at one of those Senate hearings in that capacity. She's also still like the CEO of Oxcorp. Um,
Yep.
my question to you: do you think where we're at in episode one here? Do you think this falls before or after Thunderbolts? because my whole question is like, what is Val's motivation for wanting to smuggle guns through New York, which doesn't really make as much sense to me. Well, it's also, sorry, it's the gun smuggling, but it's also the support of Fisk's anti-vigilantism.
Right.
Because she makes the call to the New York State Attorney General to, pacify him and get him on board with supporting all of Fisk's policies, which my first read is that this takes place before New Avengers and before she kind of becomes the, like the Nick Fury of the New Avengers, because it wouldn't make sense if she's the leader of a team of superheroes, crime fighters, vigilantes, if she's also behind the scenes, like supporting Fisk's war against them in New York, which is where the New Avengers are kind of located. Then I started thinking about how it could make sense in the aftermath of Thunderbolts if Val behind the scenes is trying to take out any of the New Avengers competition, right?
That makes sense
to
how I'm
me.
looking at it. I think that she wants control of the weapon that is the enhanced individual, the superpowered beings, the superpowered team. I think that she wants to have a monopoly on superpowered people and superpowered teams, even though where we leave her off with at the end of Thunderbolts is kind of like, well, the New Avengers kind of have her now, right where they want her. I mean, Valentina, she's always 3 steps ahead, I think you nailed it on the head there. I'm more leaning towards the idea that this is after Thunderbolts and that she is making a play to try to get, first of all, to round up any, mass vigilantes, any powered beings, all that, kind of have this registry or have this pool of them, and basically
That's
almost like, all right, well, you can either get on board with my agenda, with my plan, with my team, or you can be sent off to,
we'll let Fisk do whatever he wants to do with you.
Yeah, and you can be, or you're now the Department of Damage Control's problem, or something like that. I that's kind of how I'm approaching this.
Only like my only other question about the timeline of it all is if it takes place after Thunderbolts, that would mean that like Daredevil and all these characters went through the Void experience. If that's the case, are you disappointed that we likely will not get a mention to that?
No.
Does that make sense?
Because I think it does make sense. I think that this is just one of those things of like, we're further drawing the line between Marvel Television and Marvel Cinematic Universe. Having a connection of Valentina is one thing. Having to deal with the repercussions of the Void taking over New York City is another thing. I think that those are 2 pretty different interconnected storylines. And if we brought in like the connection of, well, how do we deal with, how are people dealing with the repercussions of the Void, that kind of goes back into like how post Endgame era everything had to relate back to the snap. And the waters got muddied with that a bit.
I think that kind of connection, or the lack of that kind of connection, is something that I might have been more up in arms about a few years ago. But I think I'm just at the point now where like the reality of it is like yes, there are people within Marvel who know everything that's going on in every concurrent project, but like realistically, the teams that are working on each individual project are just working on their project. And the connections that we do get, like the Val connection, I think is awesome. But like, I'm just not watching these projects anymore expecting to get that kind of like mention of something that happened in another project that theoretically would have also affected these characters.
You're right. Yeah.
But like that's not serving the story they're telling here. That's not what they're thinking about. So it is what it is.
Totally. You're right. A couple years ago, like for example, if we went into Spider-Man Brand New Day and there was no mention of, the Void and all. Well, where was Spider-Man when the Void took over? I would have been upset about that. I would have been up.
Now it's just like,
you know what? I don't really need that from Spider-Man. I don't need that from Daredevil. It is what it is. It happened. It was a great movie, great story. I'm not looking for that in this show. I'm looking
Yeah.
for what is Matt doing. How are Matt and Wilson Fisk at arms with each other? What does this mean for New York? What does this mean for the characters involved and the characters tangential to this? That's really all I want out of the show.
Yeah, I agree. We don't need to give this any more airtime talking about the MCU-ness of it all, because I want to talk about I want to talk about Mr. Charles and like his characterization here and what
Mhm.
Matthew Lillard does, because I think he is just like such a cool foil to introduce to Fisk, um, because they're really at this point not like purely antagonistic toward each other. Like they're
No,
kind of
no.
on the same team, but going about accomplishing their goals in very different ways. And it's because they're on the same team because their interests are aligned temporarily on this one particular issue, right?
Right.
Like Mr. Charles will have no issue to throw Fisk under the bus if and when that time comes.
Oh, yeah.
Um, and so you get that
That's
ruthlessness on
probably
his
part of his
side.
plan, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. You get that ruthlessness, but then there's also just like the way he presents in the room. Like he barges into Fisk's office during the meeting with the AG, and he's like, "Man, sorry I'm late to a meeting that I was not invited to." He doesn't say that, but like he is not supposed to be there. He's like, "Sorry I'm late.
Mhm.
The line for the Euro cart was just I had to wait. Look how big it is." And then he's just like he's going in there and he's throwing his weight around and he's doing it in such a casual way, as opposed to Fisk on the other side, who super formal, super buttoned up, like super
Mhm.
intense, but like trying to do a lot of the same things that Mr. Charles is.
Yep.
And so like when they're like at odds on opposite ends of the table in that scene with Vanessa later in the episode, like another example of it where they're like their energies are just like so opposite toward each other that when they clash, it's just like so entertaining.
Yep.
Actually, I listened to, they're doing like official post episode
Yeah, yeah.
podcasts now with like the first episode was like with Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio, and they did an interview with Benson and Moorhead. But one thing that Vincent D'Onofrio was talking about on the pod was like how by the end of the season, he grew to like genuinely dislike Matthew Lillard, despite the fact that they were friends, like actual friends before the show,
Oh,
just
that's funny.
because of like the character that he's playing and the roles that they're presented to in relation of each other, where he's like tired of having to deal with Matthew Lillard by the end of the shoot. And so I feel like
That's actually awesome.
yeah, it makes me really excited to see how that dynamic kind of just like gets even more intense as the season goes on.
Yeah, no, it's going to be fun to have this, like you said, another foil to Wilson, another adversary, because obviously, we have Daredevil and Matt on one side of it. That's like the main focus. But now to have like a behind the curtain, somebody on the backside of things that's now also presenting this challenge for Fisk. It's going to be interesting to kind of see that like double sided attack here, because as you said, like as of right now, they're not at arms with each other. But there will be a point where whatever, you know, Dave Fontaine's, Valentina's plan is, Mr. Charles is going to enact that plan, and he is going to become adversarial to Fisk. And then we're going to have this like double-edged attack here with what Charles is doing on behalf of Valentina, and then what Matt's doing to topple the task force. And it's just gonna, I think it's gonna culminate to this like really really cool like moment where like Fisk just loses it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's gonna be entertaining.
Yeah. That's a good point. Like how Fisk is now just like fighting off attacks from multiple fronts. And
Mm-hmm.
that's gonna break him down for sure. And that's
Yeah,
gonna be cool to
yeah,
see.
yeah.
Um, anything else on Mr. Charles?
No, I'm good with Mr. Charles.
I'm just kind of thinking. It's like we talked about Fisk and like around Fisk a lot so far this episode. Um, I feel like he is kind of the character that is like most he seems most similar to the version that we get at the end of season 1. Like, it doesn't seem like there has been much that has changed with Fisk in that intermediate time, aside from like him just like further intensifying his safer streets initiative and everything. But man, his first scene when they're at the Northern Star on the shore, and he gets out of the car, and he looked big.
Dude,
he looked big.
Big.
Like, he was looking
Man.
like into the Spider-Verse Fisk.
Dude.
That's the biggest change from season 1, which was like a story that was played out, was just like his body and like his diet, and like as he kind of delved further and further into the evil and like the dark side of Fisk over the course of the season, he started eating dirtier. Like, there was like that meal he had with like 3 links of sausages on a plate of pasta. And so just like seeing that he has continued that and gotten to like nearing that like comic book level of size that we know he can get to, that excites me. He was looking big.
Yeah, he was looking beefy, and that's actually a great point, because that's really all I have to say about Fisk.
Yeah,
because it's like you said, he's exactly where we left him off, and I think that's fine for the time being. I'm sure I've already mentioned, like, we're gonna get this evolution of him just kind of like losing it as the season goes on, as everything around him starts to collapse, and I've seen a little bit of chatter online too. I don't want to really get too far into this, but just like how the Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer might contain spoilers for Daredevil Born Again season 2, because Spider-Man gets the key to the city, and it's not from Fisk. Blah blah. Listen, it's
from his like second. It's from Sheila, his like second in command. So we don't have to get into it.
Too much into it. I
think that can be read in a number of ways. We don't have to get into it. It could be read as Fisk sending a second in command to give the key. It could be read as her taking his place.
Do that type of thing all the time.
We'll learn more as the season develops.
Yeah. So I don't know where Fisk will leave off at the end of this season. But I agree. He's looking beefy. I think we're gonna get some cool moments of him just losing his mind. Just kind of getting after it. I think we're going to get to see some physicality from Vincent D'Onofrio this season, and that excites me.
Yeah.
Where you want to go?
Here's what I'm thinking for the rest of the episode. One character that we haven't talked about enough yet, I think, is Karen. I think we end on Karen. And before we get there, I think we round out a lot of the characters that were introduced in season 1 and where we see them here. So I'm thinking about Cherry and Kirsten on Matt's side. I'm thinking about Daniel Blake, Buck Cashman, and Sheila on Fisk's side. So do you want to just do like rapid fire where you find yourself with all those characters after episode 1?
I don't have much to say, to be honest, about any of those characters. I'll just say, with Fisk's supporting cast, I mean, they're all pretty much exactly where I expect them to be. They're all playing into Fisk's game, and we got the BB Urich character obviously back, just like manipulating what's
Daniel Blake. Yeah.
Thank you, Daniel Blake. I kept wanting to say Cashman. I knew that was the character. Manipulating Daniel Blake, and he's just being played like a fiddle. That stuff doesn't really excite me too much anymore. So it is what it is. See what comes about that as the season goes on. The
Cherry and Kirsten, what do you think?
Cherry and Kirsten, yeah, I'm trying to think. So, the Cherry character, I liked what we got from him this episode, mainly because of the final sequence in the episode of, he's getting attacked by the anti-vigilante task force. Daredevil shows up to save the day. He's kind of like in this like distracted state because he's picking up on the fact that Cherry's having a heart attack, and ultimately this distracts him enough to where Matt is taken down by the vigilante task force, and bless you, and they unmask him, realize it's Matt behind the mask, and so we got a big problem. Oh no, we don't, because Bullseye, pop, 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 they're all gone. Leaves his moniker. What a cool scene. Yeah, I mean, I think he's an interesting medium to keep Matt connected to the greater story around him, because as of right now, I mean, Matt does not exist. Daredevil exists.
Yeah.
So the
Very
Cherry
Spider-Man
character is
coded
really
right now.
exactly, yeah. The way the Cherry's used, I think, as a way to keep the Matt character here. So I like that.
Yeah, I think for me, Cherry, after this first episode, is probably my favorite of like the quote unquote new elements of the show. I think I'm a sucker for like that grizzled ex-cop character who's just like seen it all and is fed up with it, but is still like super competent and like still has a heart of gold, basically. He plays
Yeah.
that really well. I think he is like a good like Father Lantom stand-in for Matt, to have like that, not quite as much of like a moral high ground character as Father Lantom was, but to have like that almost father-esque figure character for Matt to bounce
Mm,
off of.
mm.
Um, and yes, I'm a big fan of Cherry, and I'm glad that he is seemingly going to be around after this first episode. I don't think that heart attack killed him.
No, no.
The Kirsten character, she's there with Heather for me, which I hate to say, because I think there is like, she's such an interesting character from the comics, and her dynamic with Matt is so interesting. But like, she in this first episode is just being completely frozen out by Matt, as in season 1, Matt and Cherry, because Cherry is like lying to her too. She's being buried under mountains of work at the firm because Matt has abandoned her. I do like that we still have her like sticking strong with her morals, like when DA
Yeah.
Hochberg comes and tries to get her to, abandon her firm and come work for him and Fisk, basically. She's like, go F yourself, more or less. But it feels like not only are the characters giving her the short straw, but like the writers are too. So just the fact that like they made the active choice to keep her around and give her a prominent role in this first episode is interesting to me. I don't know where they're going to go with that, unless it is like Matt, like they're like Matt coming back into existence again.
So
It probably
that's
has
kind
to be
of
part of it, right?
yeah. Like I think my main issue with it is just like, okay, so like the big thing with Daredevil and Matt Murdock has always been, like you get Matt Murdock fighting the fight during the day as the lawyer, and then you get Daredevil fighting the fight at night as Daredevil. Now there's no longer that split because Matt Murdock is no longer in the picture. So now you kind of have, Daredevil doing his thing at night, and then like Kirsten kind of taking over the role of like the Matt Murdock character of still fighting the fight as the lawyer during the day. And I'm just like not as interested in that side of it anymore.
Yeah,
So it is what it is. I mean, yeah.
I'm with you. And yeah, just really quick, like Daniel Blake and Buck Cashman, I enjoy when they're on the screen. Like I like watching Daniel Blake get manipulated by BB. I find that to be entertaining and funny. And
He's just so good at it.
so good at being manipulated. And then Buck Cashman, I just like, he is a slightly more entertaining Wesley to me. Like when he kills the boat captain and
Yeah.
he's like, it's a shame because none of this is your fault. Like, I think he actually meant that. And so he's got like that cold, like psychopathic, kind of enforcer mentality to him, which he is a character from the comics. I'm certain of. I don't know if he is ever like a villain, like powered villain character, but I would like to see a juiced up Buck in some kind
That
of
would be fun.
some kind of
That would be
combat
fun.
role. I would like to see that.
Let's juice up Buck.
Get him on Venom.
Um,
All right, I know we're on short time here. We got to spend a couple minutes talking about Karen and like her expanded role in this episode and in this war that Team Daredevil is waging.
Yeah, I mean, plain and simple, this is the best version of Karen I think that we've ever got. Um, Despite an absolutely ridiculous
The wig.
uh data like drop off transfer scene, like dude, the way that that scene, like putting the wig on to like the file being dropped off by the box of cereal, that dude, that scene was ridiculous. uh
Better
but
journalist than spy.
but I think that this is gonna be the best version of Karen that we've ever seen.
I agree. We've already talked about like her relationship with Matt and how I'm into that. But I do just love how she is like playing a very active and important role in this war they're waging against Fisk. Like we get her hitting the bags at the beginning of the episode. She's
Yeah, what are we gonna get out of
physically
that?
training. She is like working her sources. Her and Matt have like a shorthand for like their spycraft, like they're talking about fallback spots and rendezvous.
Hmm.
Um, so it is like I'm into the fact that we have Karen playing like an important role, not just with her relationship with Matt, um, but like marrying that with the rest of the story. And
Yeah.
I absolutely loved the scene that she had with BB,
Hmm.
which we kind of get through like her conversation with Matt. Like BB has been a source for Karen for some time now. Um, and so they have that bond over Ben. And you get the scene that where, you know, Karen's telling BB, like, yeah, I think he died for me. And like, I carry a lot of shame and guilt for that. And you can see how she's trying to channel that into being a mentor to
Yep.
BB while all, like she like BB is a source for her and like she works her like a source in some senses, but she's also there being like that mentor that Ben was to her in a lot of ways, as to say,
Hmm.
you got to keep your guard up just because, you know, the easiest people to manipulate are manipulators. So you need to keep your guard up. Don't develop a relationship with Daniel. Um, and to see her like playing that dual role there with BB is really interesting. And I like that we're getting the follow up on Ben this way.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. She's almost like the. It's interesting because we're introduced to this new character of BB Urich, and uh, you would almost expect like her to be like the replacement character for the Ben character, but that's a really good point. It's actually leading up to they're almost having Karen step into those shoes a bit more,
Hmm.
and having her in that role more as the Ben type character while also mentoring the family member of Ben, with BB. I think that that's a really interesting spot to put her in, and to make her, I mean, just to put it simply, more likable of a character, because at times I've downright been annoyed by Karen. So I
Yeah,
think that this is a good role for her to fill, and I think that she has more opportunities to shine here than she has previously.
agreed. Um, you got any Bat Signal spotlights you want to shine?
Not anything in particular. I think it was a good episode.
Yeah,
Nothing stood out as like, oh my gosh, crazy. The final sequence I think would be like the one to shine a spotlight on, just because it was cool. The way that it was shot. Daredevil. The way that he uses his uh batons, his nunchucks, in fighting was really cool to see. The way that they're showing like his enhanced senses, again, really well employed. And then ultimately to have that like final call sign of Bullseye and the
yeah,
knife landing in front of Matt, I thought was cool. That was a very cool sequence.
yeah. That was great. I think the bookends of that final fight and then the opening sequence on the boat.
That was
Um,
a cool one too.
really like hitting hard with the visual flair early on. Like the reveal of the
Hmm.
new suit looks amazing. The way, like you said, showcasing his heightened senses with like the aspect ratio changes and the
That was really
zooms.
cool. That was cool.
So cool. The Newton brothers back on the score. The music is awesome. Um, but yeah, I would probably go with that opening Northern Star fight sequence where we just get Matt just going crazy, and like
Oh
you
yeah.
get the shot of him stomping the camera out and just like fully embracing like the Devil of Hell's Kitchen moniker with the guttural screams.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good episode, good start. I'm by no means disappointed. I'll say I'm not like jumping up and down. In
I
terms
think I'm
of
a little
like,
higher on it than you are.
I think you are. I think in general you're higher on it than I am. I wouldn't say by like a ton.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm like trepidatious by any means. I'm just I'm think episode 2 is going to be a big one for me. I think that it's episode
Yeah.
2. I think is going to more so set the plate for me on what to expect in episode 1. So well actually I should say episode 2 and 3 because as you said we're getting a 2-episode release, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah. Very true. Well, I think that's the Northern Star. You got anything else? Any other final comments, takeaways, anything you particularly did not like with this episode that we haven't talked about?
No, nothing awful. It just a good episode of TV. Good start
Good
to
to be
season
back.
2.
Yeah.
Good to be back in Daredevil. Good to be back watching Marvel TV, especially after a very recent another great entry to the MCU with Wonder Man. I'm liking the vibe right now. I'm liking the vibe.
Heck yeah. Anything you want to hit in the recommendation corner, or anything like that? Anything you want to let the
Ooh, okay.
listeners, viewers know
I'll hit
about?
a rec real quick. Gonna.
While you do that, I will just direct our YouTube and Spotify viewers to my shelf behind me, where you might see Optimus Prime in Lego form. I spent the last 2 weeks constructing Optimus Prime. Shout out Dad for the early birthday present. Really fun. Probably my most enjoyable Lego build that I've ever had. Biggest one for sure.
Sorry, I was texting my wife. She just gave me the time to go text. So I'll wrap this up here with my recommendation is The Land Before Time.
Great movies.
My daughter is on a huge dinosaur kick right now. Jordan, you'll be happy to know this. She can now identify Triceratops, Stegosaurus, and T-Rex.
Big 3. That's all you need.
Big 3. So we've been watching some Land Before Time movies here recently. I just love that like late 80s, early 90s animation style.
Special.
So Land Before Time. Go watch some classics. That's what I got to say.
Go build some Legos while you watch Land Before Time. That's what we'll leave you with.
Yeah. And as I said, guys, I'm getting the text. I got to leave.
All right, we're wrapping it up.
Wrap this episode up.
Yep. Thank you guys for sticking with us. We appreciate you. Hit us up on the socials. We are on the app formerly known as Twitter at B2 Batcaves with the number 2, and all the other ones, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all of them at Between 2 Batcaves with the number 2. Hit us up. Let us know what you thought about Daredevil. You watching Invincible? Let us know.
And before you close out of the podcast app of your choice, quick reminder here to leave a 5-star rating and review if you enjoyed the show today. Jordan and I will be back next week talking more Daredevil, maybe something else in conjunction with that. We'll see. So yeah, look forward to that. And until then, from our Batcaves to yours. Thanks for hanging with us. And we will see you next time.
See ya.